Hi, my name is Ariana and I'm 17 years old. Innocence means to me the lack of understanding and kind of like the sheltered version of yourself. And I feel like it's usually when you're younger, when you don't really know what's going on, and when you're surrounded by younger kids or people that are like minded, just like you're not exposed to anything different than what you already know.
Hi, my name is Menashe and I am 19. To me, I associate innocence with a sort of blissful ignorance. It's a time in your life, like when you are like truly innocent, you the world revolves around you, and it should. And there gets to a point where the world can no longer revolve around you. Your aches and pains and owies and boo-boos cannot be the center of the world. You learn to start considering other people as it revolves around your life, other people as it doesn't revolve around your life. And you have to care about them in the same way you care about you.
I'm Kira, I'm 19.
Okay.
What innocence means to me, it's kind of a hard question. Um, it's kind of like almost a prettier word for ignorance, or like a nicer, like childish term for like ignorance. Not that there's anything wrong with ignorance, it's just like a prettier term. But it's just kind of like more of a term for like ignorance or like lack of knowledge thereof and just overall awareness of what's going on thereof.
I felt like I had to leave my childhood pretty early because when I was younger, I moved a lot. So from like, I moved to two different continents and a few different countries. And so that just kind of like made me exposed to different things and like different people and different experiences, especially because I went to an international school. So you have people who like who are refugees, like escaping things. And I feel like that just kind of makes you wake up. And especially because my parents, when I was younger, they didn't really treat me like a kid. They wanted me to become like, I guess, like a more fluent adult, if that makes sense. So they kind of treated me like an adult as a kid. So I feel like my innocence was gone pretty quick, not because of anything bad, just because of like the way I was raised and the situations I was put in.
I remember I used to get so upset because I was like 6 and I wasn't allowed to wash the dishes. That was an older person thing. And I would revolt by washing the dishes. I wish it was that way now. I do not like washing the dishes. But I was washing the dishes and my grandma had these big black dishes that were so heavy, too heavy for my 6-year-old hands. And as I was washing, it slipped and it shattered. And I felt so bad. And I was just like, why can't I be old enough to like hold the weight of this dish? Being able to hold the weight of your current situation, or acknowledging where you need to be and knowing you can't hold that weight, it's kind of a perpetual experience that I'm always like reckoning with, I guess.
Do I miss a part of myself that I didn't know things? Yes and no. You know, that's kind of, it's a layered question. It's like, I wish I could have more hope, is more it is. And just kind of kindness. I'm not the kindest and I'm not the nicest. And I kind of wish I was to some extent, or have some kind of, you know, peace to give some people. I wish I wasn't always so kind of selfish to some extent. You know, everyone's selfish. Everyone's selfish deep down. Everyone's selfish. You know, it's just what it is.
I don't think there was necessarily a moment, like an event that happened where my innocence was automatically lost. I think a lot of things happened that led to it, if that makes sense. Like when I used to live in Belgium in 2016, there was an airport bombing and it killed like 30 people, maybe more than that, and injured hundreds. And at the time I was in third grade, and I feel like I always knew like there's like bad people, like because I moved so many times. I knew every place you move, there's gonna be someone mean. There's gonna be someone making fun of the way you act, or the way you look, or how tall you are, how short you are, and everything like that. But I never thought like people's meaningfulness, if that's a word, could extend beyond just words. And when the bombing happened, like one of my older sister's friend's dad was injured, and I think that made me realize that like violence could affect not people from different countries, people I didn't know, but it could affect like me and my life, because I lived 30 minutes from the airport, so it's like I was right next to it. And in 2 weeks we were going on vacation, so if that happened in 2 weeks, that could have been me. And I think that made me lose my innocence a little bit, to realize that people are like hateful, and they're not just doing things with their words, they're doing things that could injure people. And I think, well, no, I know that it made me grow up as a person, because something that I could have never imagined happening, like it was never in my mind that someone could bomb an airport full of like innocent civilians, like that. I just, like, how can you expect a third grader to think of that? I never thought of it, and then it happened. And I think for a while I just thought the world was more negative, and I feel like that led to the loss of my innocence, because I saw always on the news like, please pray for the people in Belgium. At school we had to have a minute of silence before lunch every day. It was really like, that was like a big, I don't think it was the only event that led to it, but that was like the big event that led to me realizing that the world is not as happy as people try to make it seem.
I didn't always run with the right crowds. And I was always friends with like people that weren't really like the most likable or just understood, which sounds like cringy as hell and emo as hell, but it was definitely just not the right crowds. I think it was definitely one time they were not all there, and they definitely overdosed at the time, and were starting to like get the symptoms. And I was the only one that was kind of sober, and I was like, like wrapping my head around what was happening, and I was like, you're like, I'm like sitting next to him, I'm like, you're not okay, like there's something wrong here. It was so surreal, almost like seeing that in real time, just watching someone's life just like completely drain out of them. I mean, she didn't die, like she's fine. Just in that moment, it was just like, and I was the only one that was comprehending what was going on and being like, oh my gosh, like we have to take you to the hospital, you're not okay. Definitely in that moment, like, was something. And a total loss of innocence, or just like that loss of like self-awareness, being like, holy crap. But yeah.
Having like this carefree attitude about everything. Like I didn't care how people perceived me. I didn't care what was going on. I didn't care about politics or the like environmental, anything that was happening.
You can't choose who you're going to be, but you can choose who you're not going to be. And that's enough. Sometimes.